Nynaeve Almira, one of the most divisive characters in the entire Wheel of Time. Let's get into a character examination of someone who I've been a pretty consistent defender of since I started my channel. There are Nyneave haters out there, and I don't want to start off this video by jumping straight into that, so let's just kind of go over her original, initial arc for the series. We have someone who's been in an authority position where they have to combat everyone around them to get the respect they honestly deserve. She's the very young wisdom of a small village in the middle of the backwoods country within this fantasy world. The Wheel of Time makes a point to show you that people who live in these smaller towns have a bit more of a backwards way of life. It's just kind of a natural progression for, you know, most worlds. People in the cities tend to be a little more cultured, while those in the country tend to have more of the traditional roles and that setup. Not saying one's better than the other. I know someone's gonna get offended. I'm just saying that they do fall into those stereotypes. And Nyneave, being the type of woman she is, she does earn her way to being the village wisdom and takes Egwene Alfear under her wing. Now, Nynaeve Almira was a very good wisdom, but spoiler warning for the Wheel of Time, as we know, she leaves the village to go on the adventure of a lifetime and kind of discovering and helping shape and mold and the Dragon Reborn and the prophecies, yada yada yada. Last battle. That's her character. Not really. Let's get a little more in deep here. As she embarks on this journey, she immediately clashes with Moraine, the Aes Sedai who has come and plucked these young boys out of her village, and many people heavily criticize Nyneave for this. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and jump in the defense of her here. The reader has the perspective of, look, the magical figures that are in fantasy worlds are usually good people, and they're kind of initiating the event. Also, Moraine seems to know what she's doing, and there's all these reasons for us as the reader to back Moraine in this conflict. We can tell there's something larger at play. Do yourself a favor and try and put yourself in Nynaeve's shoes. As far as Nynaeve is concerned, Aes Sedai are incredibly dangerous individuals. She does not have any reason to trust Moraine. The only thing she has heard about the type of people Moraine is through rumor and speculation. Then this woman has come into her village where she has had to fight and struggle for respect, and immediately gained more respect than Nynaeve herself has had. A bit of an insult to injury there, as well as taking some children, that is how Nynaeve still sees them, children because they practically still are, out from the village, taking these people Nynaeve clearly loves away from her. You don't help raise a young child and not love them in some way. You just kind of become bonded to them if you help raise someone. It's part of like who we are naturally. So she's afraid and she's competitive. These are two things that are going to make her, of course, clash with Moraine's cool, calm authority. Now, I'd be remiss to not mention the budding romance that begins to show up between Nynaeve and Lan at this point. It's a great romance. We'll get into it more a little bit later, but I just wanted to say that, yeah, the seeds are planted here for that as well. I personally totally understand where Nynaeve is coming from for this initial bulking at authority. She sees herself as someone who has earned the respect of the village, someone who is trying to still earn the proper respect that is due to her. And this outsider who she does not trust has taken people she cares about with no input from her, someone who is an authority figure within the village, and has just kind of swept them off into the world for God knows what reason. So fairly selflessly, and at the risk of losing all of her established authority within the village, Nynaeve leaves and goes off to try, and as she sees it, save these kids from possibly getting killed. Now, I know they're not actually kids at this point. They're young adults, which, you know, they're 6 years younger than I am now. Wow. I'm getting older. Anyway, now this initial rejection of this authority figure continues on throughout the Eye of the World, and Nynaeve learns she as well can channel. This, of course, changes up her direction in the story immediately. She needs to go to Tar Valon to learn to be an Aes Sedai, a group of people she is kind of formed an immediate hatred for, but she accepts this assigning of destiny with as much grace can be as expected. Imagine if there was a group of people you hate, just picture any group of people you do hate. Humans are full of hate. You probably hate somebody. And now learn that your destiny is to be intertwined with them forever, and they have pretty much ruined the, as you see it, good lives of many of your dearest friends and some people you love dearly. I don't think you'd have the warmest attitude towards them. Do you? Of course, I'm trying to frame this as much to show Nynaeve's side of it as possible. Of course, her side of it is not perfect, and there are flaws with her reasoning as well. But again, she is human, and I'm just trying to address the most, what I see as unfair criticisms of her character. Time continues on, and Nynaeve shows herself to be one of the best channelers the White Tower has seen in, like, recorded history. She's unbelievably powerful.
It's over 9,000!
And throughout the rest of her character arc, Nynaeve's biggest struggle is with accepting limitations and realizing simultaneously that she is a strong, important person. Nynaeve wants absolute authority, and she wants to basically rule like a dictator at times. She sees her way as the best way, and she has a very difficult time seeing other people's sides of arguments. But the amazing growth of her character, the very believable and human growth of her character, is Nynaeve learning to be humbled while also showing a lot more self-respect. It's kind of an interesting growth dynamic there. She is someone who is very insecure at the beginning, but through the amazing love she has for Lan, where they both grow together as characters, the acceptance that she cannot control everything, and the final realization that she certainly can influence and her voice is valid, is an incredible combination to pull off in one character. My favorite exploration of this dynamic is with Nynaeve's former apprentice, Egwene. Egwene's rise to power is nothing short of meteoric. She goes from a wise one's apprentice in a village to the second most powerful person in the world. And Nynaeve needs to totally shift how she views this person, someone who she was mentoring, and of course loved this person as well. I actually think Nynaeve is one of the most filled with love characters in the entire series, and if you do not get that, I really recommend you reread her portions of the Wheel of Time. She is someone who is trying to control out of fear and love for those around her. She's trying to protect everybody and control everything because the world's a very dangerous place, and she's learned that in some really harsh ways. This is absolutely the root of her budding with Egwene. She still sees Egwene as the foolish young girl who she was helped being a village wise one. And as Egwene slowly rises to equal her and eventually pass her, Nynaeve is forced to recontextualize the relationship, something that is clearly very difficult for her. But as time goes on and Egwene's absolute status above her in society is cemented, she accepts with incredible grace. And it's something that the initial Nynaeve probably would not have been able to do, but by the later 2/3 of the series, Nynaeve has certainly been put in a place where she has been put down in certain ways, but not in a disrespectful or horrendous way. She is just now in more comfortable footing to lend her very valid, very wise voice in not quite so a dictatorial way. She knows that other people's viewpoints will be different. She's just probably gonna be right when she starts voicing her opinions. Now, I also need to talk about her dynamic with Rand, because I think it's one of the most criminally underrated relationships within the Wheel of Time. Their friendship is incredible. They both have tremendous respect for each other. While Egwene never fully came to a point where she saw Rand as an adult who should be respected and an equal to her, Nynaeve actually saw Rand for what he truly was as he came into his own. She started respecting the bull-headed farm boy and had a lot of pride, I feel, for what Rand became, and of course all of that fear is all the more present with Rand as well. Rand is not a stable character, and in his best moments, Nynaeve, when she was around him, clearly was filled with pride and confidence and a lot of respect. While he was at his worst, she never talked down, especially later in the series when Rand's struggles were clearly something serious. Nynaeve was there as a support and someone who desperately wanted to help. Help and provide safety are Nynaeve's two biggest driving factors. That is why she's obsessed with healing, for Christ's sake. Robert Jordan really couldn't have spelled this out much clearer, and a lot of people seem to miss it. Nynaeve, until almost the very end, is trying to stretch herself incredibly thin to be the umbrella that protects the party, and it's the acceptance that she cannot possibly do that is the real crux of her growth and development. She is one of the best written characters in the Wheel of Time. She is one of the most interesting, and while she is undeniably irritating, that's part of her charm. It's basically stages of fear to desperation, protection, acceptance, and support. And once she reaches that acceptance, she's truly able to provide the support and care she really wants to. And she has her crowning achievements of healing Stilling and Madness. Probably in the long run, two of the most impactful achievements of this entire age. Hope you guys like this character examination. I have a ton of love for Nynaeve because I see a lot of myself in the problems she has. I have a very hard time letting things go and seeing things from other people's perspective, but it comes from a place of love a lot of the time. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to see more Wheel of Time stuff in the future. And let me know what other character examinations I should do. I kind of want to do some for Dresden Files coming up quick, as well as Dark Tower, so those will be in the future. And there's a couple more Wheel of Time videos coming out as well. I have the Loghain Taim conflict examination and the Egwene White Tower conflict examination, as well as a video explaining why the first time you read the Wheel of Time will be the worst time you read the Wheel of Time. And on every time you read it after that, it's only going to get better from there. Anyway, guys, that's all that stuff, and I hope you liked the video. Okay, bye!